Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Supervisor Brandow,
Here.
Supervisor Magsick,
Here.
Supervisor Mendez,
I'm here.
Supervisor Pacheco,
Here.
Chairman Quintero.
Here.
All five present. Thank you.
Good morning. Before we begin, I would like to ask that we observe a moment of silence in reminding us of all the conflicts going on in our world, to remind us of the children, women, and men who have lost their lives. Let us keep them in our thoughts and prayers and pray for peaceful resolutions. Today, I'd like to welcome you to the Tuesday, October 24th, 2023 meeting of the Fresno County Board of Supervisors. We will begin today's meeting with the invocation and flag salute. The invocation will be led by District 2 Supervisor Steve Brandow. And following the invocation, please remain standing for the flag salute. Supervisor?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to invite my friend Kevin Foster. He is the lead pastor of LifeBridge Community Church to come forward and start off our morning in prayer. Thank you, Kevin.
Lord, we just approach you this morning, really needing your help. We just thank you that in your word you declare from 1 Corinthians chapter 14 that you are a God, not a God of confusion, but you're a God of peace. And Lord, we just pray, Father, first of all, for the peace across the world. Lord, we just pray for global peace right now in the name of Jesus. We just pray that your Holy Spirit would just bring peace to the Middle East in the name of Jesus. We just pray that somehow, some way, Father, that you would resolve all the tensions that exist there. And Lord, we also not just want to pray globally this morning, we want to pray locally as well. We just ask that somehow, some way you would bring peace and not confusion to our county, to our precious county. And we just pray for the meeting today within these halls that peace would reign and confusion would not reign. We thank you, God, that we can rely upon you and we can come to you in times of need. When things are rough, when things are difficult, that you are there for us. No matter who we are, no matter where we come from, you can give us peace. And we pray for that peace this morning. In your precious name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number one.
Item number 1, approve agenda.
Okay. Are there any comments from the board members at this time regarding the agenda? Okay, seeing none, I will entertain a motion and a second to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
We now move to item number 2, approve consent agenda item numbers 21 through 52.
Okay. These matters are routine in nature and are usually approved in a single vote. Are there any members of the board that would like an item removed from the agenda or from the consent for discussion? Are there any members of the public who would like an item removed for discussion? Okay, seeing none, I will entertain them.
Number 6.
That's not consent.
That's not consent. Okay,
Motion to approve.
we have a motion to
Second.
approve. Okay, and we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Also, just to remind the public, if you need to follow with an agenda item, with any part of the agenda, there's agendas in the back of the room by the door.
We now move to item number 3, under the Board of Supervisors, presentation of retirement plaque to Renee Rachel Garcia, Department of Behavioral Health, 28 years of service.
With the Director of Behavioral Health. Good morning, Susan.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. It is my pleasure this morning to be before you to recognize Renee, who served many years in our department in the Public Guardian's Office. I will introduce her division manager, Sean Patterson, to speak on her behalf. But on a personal note, I want to share that my family is very proud of Renee, as my dad was her soccer coach when she played soccer on my brother's soccer team when we were kids growing up in the Clovis School District. So on a personal note, the Holt family is very proud of Renee. But on the more formal side of life, I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Patterson to make remarks on behalf of the Public Guardian's Office, for which Renee served tirelessly and passionately for members of our community who were under probate conservatorship.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. My name is Sean Patterson, Behavioral Health Division Manager. I'm here this morning to introduce you to Renee, recognizing her for an amazing 28 years of county service, beginning in October 1993. I have the honor of overseeing the Public Guardian's Office, where Renee finished her county career as a Deputy Public Guardian. In her position, Renee was a staunch advocate for some of the most vulnerable individuals in Fresno, representing those that may have been the victim of elder or financial abuse. On a daily basis, she made difficult decisions that affected not only those she represented, but their families too. Renee carried out her duties with integrity and empathy for everyone she interacted with, and was an integral member of the Public Guardian's Office. For her outstanding work and service, the department is proud to recognize her here today.
I just want to say thank you, and I came on a good date because I see my brothers and sisters from SEIU. Actually, I started when I was 19, so I've been with the Fresno County for 36 years. So thank you for your time. Have a great retirement job now at Clovis Community College, and I think all my years with Fresno County prepared me for that. So thank you so much.
Renee, did you have any family members you'd like to introduce?
Oh, my love, Nathan.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, do we have any comments from the board? Okay. Renee, thank you for all your years of service. I'm sure you've seen a lot of changes
Yes.
in that department and throughout the county of Fresno. So thank you very much for all your hard work and your contributions as well. Okay, is there any comments from the public? Okay. Renee, please step forward and receive your retirement plaque. Take a photo with the board.
Do you want us to come up with you?
Yeah, he needs to come up and take a
Hey,
picture.
Renee, right here. Thank you. Thank you for all the years. Yeah. Hi, Suzanne. Howard, good to see you. Good morning. Good job. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. Hi, Susan. How are you? Excellent. How are you? All right. Good to see you. All right. Thank you.
We now move to item number 4. Under the Board of Supervisors, appoint a member and alternate of the Board of Supervisors to the California State Association of Counties, CSAC, Board of Directors of 2324, and direct the clerk of the board to provide notification to CSAC. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, each year, the California State Association of Counties, CSAC, requests the election of representatives for all California counties to serve on the CSAC Board of Directors. Your board will need to elect one member and one alternate for a one-year term before the annual CSAC conference. This year, the conference will begin on November 13, and currently Supervisor Mendez serves as your primary and Supervisor Maxick serves as your alternate.
Okay. Any comments from the board on this? You're willing to serve
Yeah,
again?
do it. You draft me, I'll do it again.
Yeah, I think he's the best one for
Do
it.
we have any comments from the public regarding the appointments to the CSAC organization and keeping the same members that we have representing Fresno County? And so we have, do we need a motion
Yeah.
Want to make it?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make that motion
Okay.
to make Buddy the member of our board to represent us at CSAC, and then also Nathan as the alternate.
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
They will serve as members and alternates of the Board of Supervisors, and the formal name for the organization is California State Association of Counties Board of Directors for 2023-2024. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
We now move to item number 5 under Supervisor Brandow, adopt a resolution condemning the Hamas terror attacks of October 7, 2023.
All right.
I'll turn this item over to you, Supervisor.
Perfect, Mr. Chairman. I know we've got a full agenda, so I'll try to be brief about this. I wrote a resolution condemning the attacks of Hamas on Israel, and you know what a resolution is? It's got a lot of whereases. I'm just going to read 3 of them for brevity today and then make a comment, and then we can also go out to the public, and other board members can make comments if they'd like. The first whereas, on October 7th, 2023, America's longtime ally, the nation of Israel, was attacked by Hamas and suffered a tragic loss of innocent men, women, and children. And whereas, Israel is a nation where people of different faiths and backgrounds, including those with roots in Fresno County, reside or have loved ones residing, and these heinous attacks have further threatened the possibility of peace in that region. And then finally, whereas Fresno County's Jewish community is suffering in this time of crisis, and many have loved ones who have been killed or impacted by the terror attacks. There has also been a rise in anti-Semitic attacks, including recent vandalism of local synagogues and businesses assumed to be Jewish in the attempt to terrorize and threaten our community. And therefore, Fresno County condemns the barbaric attacks perpetrated by Hamas on innocent civilians. Fresno County condemns acts of anti-Semitism, including recent attacks locally. Fresno County calls upon the people of all faiths to condemn the attacks by Hamas and the rise of local anti-Semitic attacks. So that's what the resolution says. But I was thinking about it, and I had a chance for a few minutes to talk to Supervisor Magzig this morning. It was really good because it clarified some of the things I wanted to say. We did get some emails at a board saying you're doing the wrong thing. And they brought up other facts in the case. And I don't think I'm denying that there are other innocent people involved. My goal is to say that Israel has been a longtime friend and ally of the United States of America. And I want to give 3 examples of that. When we were attacked on 9/11, the very next day, on September 12th, the nation of Israel declared a national state of mourning. These are the type of things friends do when crisis happens. They commenced a blood drive so that they could get blood to the first responders and other victims still alive in New York City. And then even months later, they erected in Jerusalem a memorial of our attack, the attack on the United States, that listed the name of every single innocent American that was killed. Again, these are just the type of things that friends do. When you have a friend, that doesn't mean they're always right in everything they do, and you know that. But you stand with your friends. And so today, I'm presenting this resolution for adoption. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any comments from the board? Okay, seeing none. Any comments from the public?
Good morning. I stand here with a heavy heart. When the attack on the festival occurred, my stomach sank in deep grief for the innocent victims. But if it were not possible for my stomach to sink any lower, I immediately learned of the atrocities that are going on in Gaza, and that the justification of that attack for further attacks on the people of Gaza. One crisis cannot justify another. The atrocities the Israeli government is inflicting upon Palestinians since then and now is not justifiable. As of an hour ago, the death toll resulting from Israeli airstrikes on the Strip has reached 5,087 innocent lives, including 2,055 children. and those who are injured are struggling. I just heard that all the electricity has been cut off at the busiest hospitals in Gaza. There are people on life support. There are babies, premature babies on ACU. There was a woman who died and her baby was delivered because she was killed in this. The government of Israel is condemning them to die by cutting off their electricity when there's injured children who need life-saving care there. A local journalist, photographer, just shared that he lost 15 members of his family in airstrike today. The killings included 14 Palestinian Christians in a church. News mentions that they allowed 20 trucks of humanitarian aid, but before this, there was 500 a day, which shows how much suffering there was even before October 7th. People who do not have enough food. Words and actions matter, and in this time, and we need leaders not to condone injustice and humanity, but be representatives of all constituents. I strongly stand against anti-Semitism in our community, but refuse to allow support to be manipulated to cause harm and oppression of others. And there are Jewish organizations in DC right now demanding a ceasefire and have been arrested for protesting. To ensure that recognizing a great tragedy of innocent people, you do not condone, but stand against tragedy, oppression, and terror being inflicted. And also want to correct the idea that it's just a conflict, because when one side of a conflict can control one's water, food, electricity, internet supply, and has cut them off, when one receives $3 billion in military funding for U.S. every year, when others are forced to evacuate to absolutely nowhere to go, over millions of people, that is not a conflict, that's extermination. It is genocide. Please stand against that genocide. Please demand a ceasefire from the U.S. government. Please demand that all humanitarian aid, if you care about innocent lives and all lives, please demand these things. Thank you.
Any other comments from the public? Okay. Seeing none, I will entertain a motion and a second to approve this item.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve this resolution.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item number 6.
Item number 6, under County Clerk Register of Voters, receive certificate of sufficiency dated September 25th, 2023, with respect to the initiative petition entitled California State University Fresno Facility and Academic Program Improvement Initiative Measure filed with the County Clerk Register of Voters on September 6, 2023, pursuant to Elections Code Section 9114.
Good morning, Chairman Quintero and members of the board. I am James A. Coos, your Fresno County Clerk and Registrar of Voters, and I'm here this morning to deliver a certificate of sufficiency for the California State University Fresno Facility Academic Program Improvement Initiative Measure. Bit of a mouthful there. On September 25th, my department certified that the proponents of the Citizens Initiative measure before you had turned in sufficient valid signatures. The certificate of sufficiency is attached to this board item, and I am happy to discuss the details of this process. With this presentation of the certificate of sufficiency for the initiative measure petition, your board has two options under Elections Code Section 9118. You may order the ordinance without alteration to the voters pursuant to Elections Codes 1405. This order would place the initiative measure on the March 2024 ballot. A resolution to take this action is attached to your board agenda item. Alternately, you may order a report on the effects of the initiative to be developed by a county agency or agencies. This report must be returned to your board within 30 days, at which point the board will need to order the ordinance to the voters for the March 2024 ballot. At this time, I'd be happy to answer any questions or provide clarification for any of the information that I just provided.
Thank you, James. Any comments from the board?
Yeah, I've got
Supervisor Magny?
a few comments. So again, the process that was used is to go out, the signature gathering process is the process that's been used for decades, correct? There was nothing unusual or unique to the process that was used this particular time, correct?
Correct. Citizens initiative process following all of the steps as laid out in California Election Code.
And as far as signatures, I assume more signatures were gathered than were required. And so can you talk about how many signatures were actually gathered and validated, or do you stop counting as soon as you get to the accurate number needed?
California Elections Code gives us two possibilities for assessing the validity of petition, signatures that have been collected on a petition: a random sample process and a full review process. In this case, the proponents brought in 34,538 signatures. They were required to have 20,800 valid signatures. We did a random sample process, and through that random sample, we've determined that in the 34,000 that they found, at least 24,000 are valid. Because that number is greater than 110% of the 20,814 that are required, California Election Code allows me to certify this petition using that random process and not having to go through all 35,000 signatures.
And then I know that there are proponents and opponents to what's taking place, or there will be as we move forward in the process. So are there any issues to be a proponent or opponent as a sitting supervisor in making a decision on this particular measure as we move forward?
You'll need to clarify with county council. However, election code does not require this board to make a vote on whether this is a good measure or not. You're given limited choices. County council is the person to clarify this question, though.
The matter that's before the board today is just about placing this on the ballot. That's a ministerial function of the board. You have the two options that are in front of you. In terms of the board's position on the initiative, that's a completely different matter for any individual or for the board as a whole.
All right, and one last question, looking at alternative B. So I know that there's two options that we have before us. Typically, what I've seen in the 7 years that I've been on this board, where items have come before us, is as long as the signatures are gathered, the item has been moved forward. How often is alternative B used that you are aware of? Because I think you've worked in the elections office for about 15, 16 years. Have you ever seen that happen?
I have never seen this board or another local jurisdiction take that option B. It is available, though, to the board. In this case, it would provide a report but not change the date for when the item would be on the ballot. Either way, we would be still qualifying for the March 2024 ballot.
Thank you.
Any other comments from the board? Any comments from the public?
Good morning, and thank you for hearing me speak, Chairman and members of the board. My name is Faith Van Hoven, and I'm a third-year college student at Fresno State, and I'm here to speak in support of Measure E. So I want to start off on a bit of a personal note. My parents met in the 80s at Fresno State, and my dad joined the military through Fresno State and served. And what I saw when we toured Fresno State together was that the housing buildings that they stayed in were the exact same housing buildings that I stayed in my freshman year. What Measure E does is allow money to go into our community, allows support for our college, and we'll see this directly impacting students. And so I'm speaking today in favor of the community and moving forward in this. So with Measure E, we see that we have local control of our tax dollars. We see that we'll have upgraded classrooms and new technology, and we'll also see that there will be an economic boost to Fresno County. And we also know that 80% of Fresno State graduates stay here, and the best resources for our money is to go back into the community. We can see a breakdown of this list and why this is important to not only our community, but to the people that will be attending Fresno State. And Fresno State is a pillar of our community, and that's why I think that it's important that we allow people to have the option to vote on this. Thank you.
Hi, good morning. My name is Jaden Baker, and I am a freshman here at Fresno State University. And I thank you for hearing me speak today, and I'm speaking in support of Measure E. So I'd first like to start off by talking about our current campus. I live on campus housing, and it is the exact same campus that she lived in, or exact same housing that she lived in her freshman year. And between the water running brown, air conditioning not working, beds breaking, dining hall food being burnt, and the only palatable thing being chicken nuggets at Fresno State, I believe it's time for change. These past few weekends, I was lucky enough to visit UC Santa Barbara, and the difference between campuses is night and day. And I say that the difference between a UC and a Cal State is they're very different in terms of financials. However, my question is, why are we not striving to be that great? Why are we as a county not striving to be up there with UC campuses? I believe Fresno State has the resources and has what's necessary to be up there. I consider myself a student advocate. I fight for every single student on our campus. I would not have attended Fresno State if I did not think that it was an amazing campus, if I did not think that it was great. Without a fraction of doubt in my mind, Fresno State is one of the best Cal State campuses to attend. However, with Measure E, it will cement it as the best Cal State campus, in my opinion, and will allow so much change to happen within Fresno County. I believe in greatness, and I believe greatness starts with Measure E. Thank you so much.
Good morning, Chairman. Good morning, board members. I'm Paul Dictos, your Fresno County Assessor Recorder. Measure E, if adopted, will take money from the needy and give it to those who don't need it. Here in my hands, I hold the California State University financial statements, about 250 pages. As a professional accountant, in my opinion, I believe that the system has enough financial resources to fund this measure. Let's leave the already overtaxed taxpayers alone. My constituents don't need and cannot afford another tax.
Good morning, Board. All of us here before this good body understand the vote taken
Your name,
today is
please?
procedural.
Your name,
Your-
please?
Brooke Ashton, thank you.
you.
Your vote does not reflect an endorsement, we understand. You're here to press a button because that's what you're compelled to do. This proposed tax measure put forth by the so-called Friends of Fresno State Measure E is nothing more than crony capitalism. They're using the same tactics they did at Fresno Unified under the fleeceback program, which finally goes to trial in 5 months after 12 years of litigation. While they make emotional appeals and use spirited rhetoric, we must see it for what it truly is. This is a shift of liability and responsibility from the state of California to fix their buildings to Fresno County taxpayers. And about 50% of the students at Fresno State come from outside of Fresno, so now we're financing them as well. The backers of this measure seem to be employing a tactic as old as time, wrapping themselves in the red, white, and blue and shouting, "Go Dogs!" Given contracts by their appointed cronies making $81,000 a year for 4 meetings. I'm here despite what others have said and told me, because there's a time when the operational law becomes so odious that makes you sick at heart, that you can't take part. You can't even passively take part. You've got to throw yourself on the gears and upon the wheels and upon the levers and upon the apparatus, and you've got to make it stop. The residents of our county, many of whom juggle multiple jobs, tirelessly strive to provide for their families, struggling to keep up with rent increases, and now the promise and pride of home ownership is a pipe dream and gone due to 8% mortgages. Here's a glance. Food inflation is 77%. State income tax is going to 14.4. Gas is $6 a gallon. Bacon is $12 a pack. Even bleach is $7 a gallon. This tax measure, contrary to what its supporters might claim, isn't about helping any of us put food on our tables. Instead, it's 1 million people funding 24,000 students, or in math that they used to teach in schools, that's 2.4% of our community. Ridiculous. I was completely surprised to see Sal sign on to this. I hope you haven't lost your fastball. People are asking, where is justice? Well, they want just us to carry the water for the state. My love for this county is profound, and many of us, including myself, have deep roots here. I will not, in good conscience, raise my hand against my birthplace, my home, or the future of my children and grandchildren. We all want a more beautiful Fresno State. You have a choice. You've been elected for this moment. Do the right thing for the people you represent. Don't put a tax on the benefit of the wealthy who elected you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, supervisors, county staff, members of the audience. Thank you for your time today. Jaden would like to say a few words first, and then I'll make some brief remarks. If that's okay with the chair.
Very sorry. I'll keep this very brief. However, I have heard a few things in regards to putting the burden on taxpayers. And I would like to point out that with the building of the new resident student union at our school, that tax fell on the students. Students had to pay more in tuition. And regardless of whether or not Measure E is passed, Fresno State will modernize. And there is a chance that that might fall on the students. And while I understand that you do not want to burden the community, many of us do not have the resources to help fund this. I have $32 in my bank account. My best friend has 20. We don't have, we're students at the end of the day. This would help us greatly, and we're already paying so much in tuition, and this would help us get our money's worth in a sense. I appreciate that.
If I may, I don't want to debate the merits in this forum. I just want to make a few points. Number one, as you may or may not be aware, 2/3 of the academic buildings on the campus are over 50 years old. The university has over $500 million in deferred maintenance. This may be a state liability. I would agree with Mr. Ashton about that, but the state has abdicated its responsibility for the past 50 years. A January 2023 report by the nonpartisan legislative analyst for the state legislature and the government says that the state has no plan at all to address the capital renewal needs at the UC and CSU systems. The backlog there between all those institutions is over $13 billion and growing by $500 million to $1 billion annually because it hasn't been addressed. You guys deal with the state and federal government on a daily basis. You know when you're getting the short end of the stick. That's what we've been getting in Fresno. Measure E is an attempt for the taxpayers to take control of their university with 100% local control of these funds to modernize and improve Fresno State and empower the most prominent economic and social engine we have in Fresno County. And in regard to Supervisor Magsig's question, we did attach to this agenda item an economic impact report done by the former dean of the Cray School of Business, Dr. Joseph Pinbera, that shows, among other things, Measure E over its 25-year life will create 27,000 jobs in Fresno County and over $5.7 billion in economic impact. I believe that rising tide will raise a lot of boats in Fresno County. Thank you for your time, and I appreciate your support for putting this on the ballot for March of next year.
Hello, Board. I'm Gary Bredefeld. I support Fresno State. 3 members of my family graduated from Fresno State. Our university's needs are real and must be addressed by the CSU system. But the 25-year, $1.6 billion tax, Measure E, is not the answer. Measure E is just another tax measure that will further burden the middle class and those who can least afford it. Here are just some of the reasons I oppose it. 1, many people cannot even afford gas for their cars, PG&E bills, food, and are living paycheck to paycheck. This tax will add to those financial burdens. Number 2, CSU tuition has just gone up, and this is where some of the money should come from to meet Fresno State's needs. The other source should clearly be the CSU system itself, just as San Diego State University received $660 million for their stadium and other needs. 3, over 45% of the entire enrollment at Fresno State comes from outside Fresno County, yet Fresno County residents would bear the full tax burden. 4, this local county tax for a state university has never been done before, and for good reason. It sets a terrible precedent, and if it passes, it will ensure that the CSU system never feels the pressure or the need to meet its financial responsibility to Fresno State because they know the financial burden has been passed on to Fresno County residents. Additionally, if this passes in the future, All other CSU universities will receive state funding before Fresno State ever does. 5, this body will be granted the power to appoint 5 of the 7 oversight committee members to oversee how this $1.6 billion tax is spent. Each committee member will likely be paid $81,000 or more. That is outrageous, and a prescription for friends of the well-connected and insiders to profit from this tax hike. In essence, every year, nearly $600,000 of this Fresno County tax will go to pay the salaries of the committee members. In comparison, there are oversight committees for Measure B, libraries, C, transportation, B, parks, and Z, zoo, and all members get no money, zero. Number 6, proponents always misleadingly justify these tax increases as, quote, small taxes you won't ever notice. But they all result in California being one of the most heavily taxed states in this nation. For these reasons, I oppose this tax measure and hope that just as they did in November 2022, the majority of North Fresno and Clovis taxpayers wisely reject Measure E again. Thank you.
Other comments from the public? Okay. And there were no comments from the board? Yes, Supervisor.
This is the county council. There's actually a, doesn't say here, but there's actually a third. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is this is so irrelevant what we're doing here. Because the third alternative would be no action. It would still get on the ballot, right?
Well, if the board were to take no action to advance this, the proponents could bring a writ in court
Right.
to force
And
the
by
matter
state
on.
law, it would end up on the ballot.
Well, if, it should, yes.
Yes.
This is a ministerial action by the
Right.
board once the certification has been done
Right.
by the clerk.
So if people don't like this process, they need to go to Sacramento and change the process.
In terms of this part of the process,
Correct.
yes.
Yeah. I just want to point that out.
Mr. Chairman.
Supervisor Branda.
All right, I want to make a statement because I've got 2 opponents who come today to talk about this issue. So I just want to clear up. What's really important here, because I started to hear about the pros and cons of the ballot itself, the pros and cons. But I have to clear it up because my track record shows me that people are very unclear on what we do here in government. So although it's been said multiple times already this morning, I'm going to say it super clear. Today, we're not taking a position. We heard both sides that are on positional sides of this deal. We're not taking a position. We're filling a role, which is an agency or entity went out and got signatures, and we're simply saying, we recognize you did your job, now we're going to do our job and put it on the ballot. It reminds me of when at City Hall, I took a vote on Measure P, which I was opposed to. But it was my job to vote to move that forward and put it on the ballot. And so I just wanted to be really clear. I'm going to support this because people did a lot of hard work. That doesn't mean I support the measure. It means I'm supporting recognizing the hard work that people put on the ballot. And even if people put on things that I'm vehemently opposed to, in our democracy, if they do the work, I'm going to do my job up here. And so I don't want anybody to confuse my support for putting this on the ballot today.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Just a general comment. So again, with the action that we're taking today allows for voters to decide for themselves on March the 5th. And so this basically allows for this item to move forward on the ballot as another item that voters are going to hear pros and cons to and then decide for themselves, which I'm very supportive of. So with that, do we need to take 2 separate motions on receiving the certificate of sufficiency, or can I combine that into one motion for item 1 and 2A?
You can combine that into one motion as long as it's clear to the clerk what we're doing.
All right, I will make a motion for items 1 and 2A to move this forward.
Okay, I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item number 7.
We now move to item number 7, under the District Attorney, adopt resolution to fill a Senior Deputy District Attorney position with extra help, retiree Susan Rand, effective October 30, 2023, finding pursuant to Government Code Section 7522.56F1 that a 180-day separation period for retired employees returning to employment as extra help is not applicable based on your board's certification that the nature of employment and appointment is necessary to fill a critically needed position before the 180-day separation period.
Mr. Designee.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I do want to thank you this morning for taking time to consider our item. And while I do hope and think it speaks for itself, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have to assist the board in its deliberations. I'm Jerry Stanley with the DA's office.
Your name again? I'm sorry.
Jerry Stanley with the DA's office, Assistant DA. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
I have one quick question. So just looking at the DA's office, it's still my understanding that you are down several positions across many different classifications. So by allowing for this extra help position, it will assist in workload, correct?
That is correct. I mean, our overall vacancy rate is about 11, 12%. We're down 15 lawyers, 2 at JJC, and this is where Ms. Rand would be placed. 2 may not seem like a lot, but it's about 1/3 of that unit. So it certainly would. I think public law offices generally are struggling to recruit lawyers, and we do have a critical need for experienced attorneys, and she certainly fits that bill.
You had me at hello.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments from the board? Okay. Seeing none, is there any comments from the public? Okay, with that, I will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
We now move to item number 8, under Sheriff Coroner Public Administrator, conduct first hearing to amend the Fresno schedule fees, charges, and recover costs ordinance by amending subsection 2609 of section 2600. Sheriff Coroner Public Administrator, waive reading of the ordinance in its entirety and set second hearing for November 28, 2023. Designate county council to prepare a fair and adequate summary of the proposed ordinance and direct the clerk of the board to post and publish the required summary in accordance with Government Code Section 25124B1.
Good morning, Chair, Board. Tom Trester, Sheriff's Administrative Services Director. I'm available for any questions in regards to this item.
Okay, any comments from the board? Questions?
Just real quick.
Supervisor Magzik?
So again, with the schedule of fees update, I know that there's research that goes into that to make sure that the fees charged are adequate to cover costs. So again, I'm sure you worked with the CAO's office to make sure everything was in line. And is Paige the one that you now are speaking to directly in regards to this?
It's a
Or Samantha?
multi-step process, both with the county administrative office and the auditor's office. But the auditor's office are the ones that certify it to comply with the county policies.
All right, excellent. And the CAO's office is fully on board with this particular item?
Absolutely, and this is also a result of our office and your board working with the office with increased compensation for those positions.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Any comments from the public? Okay, seeing none, I will entertain a motion in a second.
Motion to approve.
I'll second that.
We have motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Great presentation.
Thank you, sir.
We now move to item number 9, under County Council, conduct first hearing on an ordinance calling for a special election to be held on March 5th, 2024, for the purpose of submitting to the voters of the county a measure to amend Section 15 of the Fresno County Charter related to the election date and term of office of the county's election officers, and directing the consolidation of the special election with the statewide primary election to be held on the same day, waive reading of the ordinance in its entirety, and set second hearing for November 7th, 2023. Designate county council to prepare a fair and adequate summary of the proposed ordinance and direct the clerk of the board to post and publish the required summary in accordance with Government Code Section 25124B1.
Okay, Mr. Cedarboard.
Morning, Mr. Chairman. This item number 9 is the formalization of the action the board previously took in passing its resolution with respect to a charter amendment amending Section 15 that keeps the elections of the DA and the sheriff in the gubernatorial elections cycle. Because it's a charter amendment, it requires an ordinance to place that on the ballot.
Okay. Thank you. Any comments from the board? Supervisor Magzi?
This one's pretty cut and dry. We've got back-to-back items that are very similar in nature. So, but thank you for the opportunity to speak.
No.
Mr. Chairman, we've already debated this. To me, this is a formality. This is something that we approved several weeks ago, and so now we're going to go through the physical process of putting it on the ballot and letting the voters decide whether we can retain local control of our elections in Fresno County.
Okay. Do we have any comments from the public? Okay. Seeing none, I will entertain a motion and a second to approve this
Motion
item.
to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item number 10.
We now move to item number 10, under County Council. Conduct first hearing on the ordinance calling a special election to be held on March 5th, 2024, for the purpose of submitting to the voters of the county a measure to amend Section 12 of the Fresno County Charter related to the board's duties and powers and directing the consolidation of this special election with a statewide primary election to be held on the same day. Waive reading of the proposed ordinance in its entirety and set second hearing for November 7th, 2023. Designate County Council to prepare a fair and adequate summary of the proposed ordinance and direct the clerk of the board to post and publish the required summary in accordance with Government Code Section 25124B1.
Good morning again, Mr. Chairman. Item 10 is exactly similar to item 9. It deals with the charter amendment that the board has sent to the ballot by resolution a couple of weeks ago with Section 12 that deals with the naming of locations within the unincorporated county. Again, the clerk recorder, because this is a charter amendment, needs an ordinance to place the charter amendment on the ballot.
Supervisor Magzi?
Quick question I have, since this one was a little bit more controversial or contentious, even though we're not a very contentious board. If approving this today, is it still recorded that this item, the board was split on it moving forward, or how would that be recorded?
Well, the vote on this one would be the vote on this one. The vote on the resolution that we took, is still a matter of public record.
Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments from the board? Okay. Seeing none, any comments from the public? Okay. With that, I will entertain a motion and a second.
I'll move for approval of item 10.
I'll second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No.
Motion passes with Quintero and Pacheco voting no. We now move to item number 11. Under Internal Services, approve and authorize the chairman to execute a lease agreement with Pitney Bowes Incorporated through a cooperative agreement with Sourcewell for the lease of 2 mailing machines effective November 11, 2023, for a 5-year term, total not to exceed $138,130.
Good morning, Chair, board members. Robert Bash, Director of Internal Services, Chief Information Officer. The item before you is a lease with Pitney Bowes for mail metering equipment for use in the graphics communications location of ISD. These are the machines we use to place postage on a little over 1 million pieces of county mail annually. This item is on regular calendar today due to having non-county standard language for liability, indemnification, jurisdiction, and termination of contract. As these machines basically are printing the postage that we set onto the envelopes we are sending through them, ISD sees little operational risk in the language being used, and I am available for any questions.
Okay. Any comments from the board? Questions?
Mr. Bash, this seems like routine in nature, but what is the non-conforming language that this had to be brought to the board? What was the significance of that?
So we've been informed that if it is non-conforming, that these are to be on regular items. So that's the only reason it is here.
And what was the non-conforming aspect? Do you know?
The liability is limited to only 3 months, so the damages and liability are only limited to
it's a
3
shorter
months
time
per
period?
contract. There's limits to the, our misuse. If we misuse it, they're not going to be liable, which, is fairly obvious and going to be very standard in a lot of our software contracts too. They won't take that, they won't indemnify us for our misuse. And termination without cause is missing. There's still a non-funding out at any fiscal year end, but there's not a termination without cause, language in there.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments from the board? Okay. Any comments from the public? Okay, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion in a second.
Motion to approve.
Okay,
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
We now move to item number 12, Public Works and Planning. Conduct a public hearing on the Fresno County Pathways to Removing Obstacles to Housing Grant Application. Authorize Department of Public Works and Planning to submit PRO housing grant application to U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development for up to $9 million to fund removal of barriers to affordable housing and seek to increase housing production in Fresno County.
Hi, good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Anton Kramer, Department of Public Works and Planning. The item before you is to conduct a public hearing on Fresno County's pathway to removing obstacles to housing, pro-housing grant application, and to authorize Public Works and Planning to submit the pro-housing grant application to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD, for up to $9 million. Grant funds will be predominantly used to fund infrastructure improvements in the county's unincorporated communities and implement various general plan programs. These programs include updating community plans, zoning ordinance amendments, and creating a pilot loan program to build accessory dwelling units, or ADUs, develop a housing and service resource book, and preparing the county's 2025 to 2030 HUD's required consolidated plan. This concludes staff's presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? Okay. Seeing none, any comments from the public? Okay. With that, I will entertain a motion and a second to approve the item.
Motion to approve.
You might want to formally open and close the public hearing
Okay.
just for,
Yeah.
this is a federal grant issue.
Thank you. I wasn't sure if I should mention that.
Well, my sheet said any comments from the board and any comments from the public.
Yeah.
Right.
Make a motion to close the hearing.
Okay, thank you.
Second.
Okay, hearing is closed. And we have a motion and a second.
Yeah, and I'll make a motion to do the item.
I'll second that to authorize the Department of Public Works and Planning to submit that PRO housing grant for $9 million.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
We now move to item number 13, Board of Supervisors Committee reports and comments.
Okay, are there any committee reports or board comments? Supervisor Mendez?
I think, I haven't really said nothing to Brian, but me and Brian need to work on go back to look at an ordinance about keeping water in the county or in the general service area in the system that it's in.
Okay. Supervisor Magzik?
Yeah. I was invited last week to participate in the National Association of Counties. They had a forum and had a great opportunity to really dive into artificial intelligence, which is somewhat scary to learn about. Also, last week I participated in the Fresno County Employee Retirement Association's two-day educational meeting, which really was an event at the offices there in North Fresno. Heard a lot of great information about what's going on around the world, what's taking place in emerging markets, and opportunities that may exist right here at home, and also just what's happening with offices nationally and how the vacancy rate continues to rise. So lots of clouds on the horizon, but it's good to be as educated as possible on a lot of these issues that are going to be impacting our retirement system. And that's all I have.
Supervisor Pacheco?
I would just announce publicly that we received an email regarding a request last month about our board agendas being translated in Spanish. A lot of times the public doesn't know what's taking place behind the scenes. I would like to announce to the public that the clerk is looking at that and hopefully will be done in a very timely manner. So for those that had a question about that, we did hear you. It is being looked at and hopefully will transpire very soon. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Supervisor Brando?
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chairman. I've been contacted a couple times recently about questionable operations of food trucks and food tents in Fresno County and some of our communities. And I don't know if it applies to the rural part of the county, but I did meet with the Public Health Department and have some conversations with them, and they acknowledge that that there's a lot of work that needs to be done. Here on item 8, a few minutes ago, we talked about fee increases for the Sheriff's Department to continue operations. And so I think we need to look at doing some work in this area around food trucks and food tents because there's a lot of stuff going on. After COVID, that sector has just grown exponentially. And so it's getting tough for our folks to take care of the problem. Secondly, I would like to say that at our next board meeting, I'm finally bringing forth some resolve to the question about age-inappropriate materials in our Fresno County Public Libraries. So it's something I've been working on with the county attorney and the CAO for some time, and we're going to bring that forth in 2 weeks to have that discussion. Thank you.
I'd like basically to announce that a good friend of Fresno and Fresno County, Rosalind Clark, passed away last week. She and her husband, Fred, were basically the founders of Neighborhood Watch in Fresno County. And they served many years, didn't accept a salary, but they were all over the Fresno County putting up signs for Neighborhood Watch in the neighborhoods, attending a lot of meetings, and they were just great community people. I don't know if you'll recall some years back, there was a Air National Guard plane that landed on Olive Avenue by Chestnut, and it took out a couple of apartment complexes and houses, and fortunately, no one passed away, but it just tore through that neighborhood. Fred and Roz just got their trailer together, went out there, and just set up their trailer to feed the responders and residents of the area. And that was like about 2 weeks that they stayed out there day and night. And that's the type of service that they felt they needed to do to give back to the community and give thanks to the residents for supporting them as well. So I believe the services will be announced soon. The other thing is that those of you that grew up in Fresno have probably fond memories of Playland at Roding Park. And recently in the news, it was reported that they're in a little bit of trouble as far as their monies go. They put in new equipment in there of the merry-go-rounds and upgraded everything. And if you feel you're too old to get on those rides, at least buy some gift certificates for your grandkids. But at least I'm asking you to do your part and help support that one treasure of Fresno. And so just don't hesitate to give them a call. And Supervisor Brandow, thank you for mentioning the food trucks and tents. It's getting a little bit scary out there with regards to the food trucks and tents. We had our code enforcement people from the county, as well as our sheriff's department, show up to ask these food vendors to leave an area over by Peach and Huntington. They started fighting with the sheriffs. One of the fellas that was selling food parked his truck in front of the driveway so that the vehicles couldn't get in or out to close them down, and it got a little bit ugly. So things are changing in our community, unfortunately, but those are things that we're going to have to take care of. And thank you, Supervisor, for starting to work on that. And that's it for the items that I have. Item number 13. 14.
Item number
I was
14.
testing.
Board appointments.
Yeah, got one. Okay, Historical Landmarks and Record Advisory Commission appoint John Mendoza to an at-large commission seat that expires 1/6/25.
Okay, Supervisor Magzik.
And to the Assessment Appeals Board, appoint David Hamilton to the vacant District 5 seat. And to the Commission on the Status of Women, appoint Katie Rickles to the at-large four-year college student commissioner seat, which expired on 6/30/2023.
Okay. Those are the board appointments. Are there any comments from the public? Okay, seeing none, I will entertain a motion and a second to approve the. Okay, we have a motion.
What?
Yes, sir.
Public comments?
Yeah. No,
No,
not,
board
not
appointments.
yet.
Not yet.
This is for appointments.
And I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second to approve the appointments. All in favor? Okay, opposed? Motion passes.
We now move to item number 15, public presentations. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons desiring to address the board on any matter not on this agenda.
Okay. Any members of the public who wish to address the board on any matter not in this agenda, please form a line behind the podium. You are limited to 3 minutes per person and more than 15 minutes total per topic. And clerk, if you'll keep track of that, thank you.
Will do.
Okay, comments from the public wishing, okay.
Okay, I haven't been here for a while. Okay. I get kind of nervous and,
Okay, remember that we have 15 minutes for one item and there's a lot of people behind you.
you know, I come here and I can't figure you out to see why we are not getting a raise. Sometimes I get the feeling that it's because of the job that we do and we shouldn't be getting paid for what we do. I like to tell you something about myself. My husband and I, we've been married for 48 years. He was a contractor, a labor contractor for a long time. He worked for Milo's Ranch and the Noble and all over Fresno. I was a letter carrier for 34 years, one of the first women that they hired. When I retired in 2006, I was making $20 an hour. And so when I was a letter carrier, I got pregnant and my daughter Krista was born with Down syndrome. I cried, it hurt. And then I thought, you know, God's not going to give you something you can't handle. I cannot live with Crystal, and this is why I fight for her and I fight for everybody else. I also like to tell you about my son Angelo. He was a narcotic agent, now he's a county investigator. My daughter Karina works for the Fresno Community Hospital as a nurse. My daughter Julie is an underwriter for Aetna. My youngest son is in Columbia, Maryland. He works for the military, top secret. He's going to Johns Hopkins. They sent him to Johns Hopkins University, even though he has his degree. He makes radars for the fighting jets. So nothing prepared me about how my daughter was going to be treated. When she started school, she was made fun of. And even now, kids still laugh at her. And I know I've heard from some of you that you have children, so you have family members that are disabled and cannot, you know, take care of themselves. But it doesn't show because you have no compassion. You know, it doesn't show because we haven't gotten a raise. And I have to fight for her and have to fight hard. And if I have to get arrested again, I will. And that's what it's going to take. Because I like to tell you that I got breast cancer twice. During the COVID, I got it. And that's what made me realize that I want to make sure that my daughter's taken care of. I want to make sure that one of her brothers and sisters are going to be able to take care of her and have a good health insurance. That would be the one who would take care of her. So please, have a heart. I mean, I don't know what else I can say or do, but I'm willing to get arrested again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I have ink pens for you.
Morning, Chairman Quintero, Supervisors. You guys all know me, Riley Telford, CAO Norland. First of all, you know, I know you guys get a lot of grief a lot of times. You guys have a tough job to do. I understand it. But I'm here to give you your kudos where you do it, where you deserve it. Because one, I know that you have been trying to address salaries, benefits. A lot of that spearheaded by CAO Nerlin, and it's truly appreciated. He has an open door policy. A lot of you guys have open door policies. So I know your hearts lie on a lot of things. However, I want to point out to you that I have real reservations about what are the department heads telling you. You can only move on what the department heads tell you, what conditions are, what those situations that they're facing in the departments are. And in full disclosure, SEIU Local 521 is currently in contract negotiations with the county. And a lot of things are at your discretion, what you like to approve, things you'll move on, things you won't move on. I know the CEO and Director Hollis briefs you on those things, but what are the department heads telling you? We are bringing forth real proposals that address workplace issues and concerns that are hampering the employees' ability to do their job on behalf of the community. They're hampering them. I sat up here and I supported your department heads the other day, last week or the last board meeting, when they wanted to adjust go from a salary band to a step scale to allow all of their managers to reach their top ends of the salary. And they're pretty hefty. They're pretty good. That's going to be a burden on the retirement fund as well. But heard no reservations on that. But when we come forth with solid things to address some workplace issues and concerns, they have no interest. These are things they can tell you that, hey, I think this will be good. This will be good for the employees. This is going to allow us to have a better work product to get things done. But I don't think they do those things. I truly don't think they do those things. So we know that SEIU, we sponsored last week, we sponsored a community town hall to address the issues or to talk about the issues that workers are facing. And it wasn't to bash the board. We invited members of the board to attend. Some of you could not attend, understood, but it was not a political event. It was not an opportunity to bash the board and say what the board's doing, but it was just to highlight the issues that employees are facing at the work site. And once again, I'm telling you, proposals are being brought forward that department heads can weigh in and say this will be good for my employees in the department, and that's going to help solve things such as retention, to be allowed to ensure that we keep employees that are servicing our community. And these things are being rejected. So, in full disclosure, we just cannot keep a situation where employees are leaving. We have tremendous caseloads, especially in behavioral health and social services, where it's our community that suffers. I myself, as a parent that has a child that has mental health issues, I'm just about done. I know you got a long list. And when they can't get services with the Department of Behavioral Health because clinicians can't even have offices, that's a problem. So I'm just asking you just to go back and talk to those department heads and hold them accountable when they want to get their raises and things of that nature, their steps. What are they doing in those departments? Thank you.
Good morning, board members. I'm honored to be here with you to speak on behalf of my union members. My name is April Mitchell. I'm a caregiver. My opening statement to you is, how many of you believe in God? If you don't put God first in your life, you won't be a leader. Making the right choices, doing the right thing for those that you represent in Fresno. How many of you will survive on minimum wage and no health care benefits? We're not teenagers living with mom and dad now. We're working, surviving, struggling adults. We're asking for a surviving wage of $20 an hour, plus our health care benefits. Some of us are taking insulin shots. Some of us have cancers. Others are taking care of our loved ones. I'm taking care of a loved one, working 2 part-time jobs to supplement my minimum wage income. I love the job I do. I love everyone. I love you board members too. Do the right thing. Give us $20 living wages and let us keep our health care benefits. Unlike most of you, we don't have a 6-digit annual income. We're struggling. We're asking you to help. We need your help. I believe you can do this for us. You represent us. Some of us voted for you in office to do this for us. Now we need your help. For the love of God, help us. We're taking care of those that cannot take care of themselves. Most of us can't hardly take care of ourselves, pay our rents, put gas in our car, repair our cars, pay our rents, our mortgage payments. We're not able to compete with the high cost of living. We need you. We need your help. Please help us. Do what is right for us. Do the right thing. We're asking for your help. The funds are there. Prove to us we can believe in you and trust in you. As board members representing the Fresno residents, we're asking you for help. And may God bless all of you. Thank you for your time. God bless all of you. Have a blessed day today. Thank you.
Buenos días.
Good morning.
Estoy conmovida.
I'm emotional
Porque la señora
because the lady,
vino ante ustedes
she came in front of you
en el nombre del Ser
in the
Supremo,
name of the Supreme
nuestro Padre
God,
Dios.
our Father God.
¿A dónde más vamos a llegar? ¿Por
Where are
qué
we going to
más vamos a
get?
pedir?
What else are we going to ask? Who else are we going to ask?
Yo cuido a mi esposo
I take care of my husband.
por 8 años.
It's been 8
Y estoy
years,
aquí con ustedes
and I'm
del
here with you.
anterior es que estábamos pidiéndole hace
We've
7 been
been asking for a
Nuevamente
year.
estoy aquí
I'm here again
porque mi esposo
because my
no,
husband,
no va superando.
he's
Va
not
más,
getting better.
más para abajo.
He's getting worse and worse.
Antes podía estar aquí
Before
conmigo.
he was here with me, he could
Ahora
have
ya
been.
no puede.
Today, he can't.
No estamos pidiendo
We're not asking
cantidades
a lot of
exorbitantes.
money.
Estamos pidiendo
We're
lo que
asking
sí se
only
puede,
what
lo
you
justo.
can. Fair, something fair.
Estamos viviendo una vida
We are living a life,
en shock.
Porque in
Vamos
shock.
a la tienda, compramos
We are going
comida,
to the
comemos,
store, we buy
y no
food,
podemos pagar
we
la
eat,
renta.
but we cannot pay
Y
rent.
pagamos la renta,
We can pay
y no
rent,
podemos comer
and we
bien.
cannot eat well.
Y los niños
And the
no
children,
saben si tenemos
they don't
o
know
no tenemos.
if we have or we
Ellos
don't
nos
have.
piden.
They ask.
Yo dejé de trabajar, yo tenía un trabajo,
I stopped working in a
demasiado
job
bueno.
that was very good,
pero nadie iba a
but-
cuidar a mi esposo
but
como
nobody
yo.
could care of my husband the way I do.
Y nadie,
And
no-
nobody-
no cualquier persona
Not everybody.
piensa en el gobierno, por lo que estamos pasando, por el
But
virus.
nobody knows what we're going through.
Porque yo estoy
Because
consciente
I am
y como
aware
quiero que ustedes estén
that
conscientes
I also want you to be aware
de que nosotros estamos haciendo un gran ahorro
that we're doing,
para el Estado y para el gobierno federal.
we're saving a lot of
Porque a mí
money
me
to
pagan
you
4
and to the
horas.
federal state.
Y yo tengo a mi
Because I
esposo,
get paid only 4 hours
y por
daily,
por
and I
4
have my
horas yo les
husband,
estoy ahorrando a
and
ustedes
I'm saving
20
you,
horas.
for those 4
20
hours that I
horas
get
al
paid,
día,
I'm
porque
saving you
son
20
24
hours a day,
las que cuidamos a nuestros
because
enfermos,
we
y
take care of
solamente
them
nos pagan
24 hours
4.
a day, and they are only paying me 4.
¿Cómo sería la
How
situación
would it be
si yo pusiera
if
a
I
que
would
alguien cuidara a mi
put
esposo?
somebody to take care
Y
of
yo
my
me voy a mi
husband,
trabajo
and I can go
y
to
gano
work,
mejor que lo
and
que
I can
estoy
make
ganando ahorita?
much better money than what I'm
¿Sabe
making
qué iban
now?
ustedes a pagar
Do you know how
las
much you would
24
pay?
horas porque
Those
cuidaran a mi
20, how much
esposo
you gonna pay for
en
those 24
4
hours?
diferentes turnos?
You would have to
Entonces,
have
si
4
nosotros
turns.
pensando
So
en
we're
la-
thinking
en el dinero, en lo que
in
nosotros
money
podemos
on what
ahorrarnos,
we can save.
también ustedes deben de pensar
You
en nosotros.
also could be aware of the savings that you're having.
Y nuestro trabajo es un trabajo
Our work,
justo,
our job is
digno,
a
porque
dignified
¿saben qué?
job.
Nosotros somos
Because
enfermeras,
we're
somos
nurses,
lavanderas,
we're
somos
laundering,
cocineras,
we do the cooking,
y trabajamos
and
primeros
we
auxilios.
do first
Mi
aid.
esposo apenas le dio
My husband
se cayó
recently fell.
Se me murió automáticamente.
He
Y,
was,
¿sabes?
he
Yo le
faint.
di primeros
I thought he was
auxilios.
dead, and I gave him first aid,
Porque, y no
CBA.
nomás soy yo. Detrás
It's
de
not
mí
me
hay
only.
20,000
There's
personas,
20,000
20,000
people
personas que
behind me
necesitan
that
que
they
ustedes
need
nos escuchen,
for
pero
you
que nos
to listen
escuchen y
to, but for you
actúen, por
to
favor.
listen and act.
Yo me puse triste
I
porque
was
apenas
very
tuvimos
sad
una reunión
because
en
we
lo,
had a
en
meeting,
lo político, dentro de la política,
po-
y yo estaba
politic
esperando
meeting,
ver a mi
and I was hoping
supervisor
to see
Steve
my
Brando
supervisor,
para
Steve
darle mi
Brandau, there,
apoyo.
so he can,
no
I
estuvo.
was going to support him,
Y
but
si
he
no
was
está,
not. He
señor
was
Brando,
not there. If
¿a
you're
quién
not
le
there,
vamos a
Mr.
dar el
Brandau,
apoyo? Usted
who
debe
are we going to
estar ante con
support?
nosotros
You should
cuando
be with
nosotros
us.
le solicitamos que
When
esté
we
para
request for you
apoyarlo,
to be there,
para darle nuestro voto. No,
we
yo
wanted
no
to give
quiero
you
que
our
usted se
vote,
mueva de su silla.
but I want
Yo
you
quiero
to
que
get
esté
out of your
usted ahí.
seat, and I want you
Pero
to be
también
there,
queremos que nos
present with that.
ayuden,
But we also
que nos
want
escuchen.
you to help us, to
Ya no,
listen
ya,
to
ya
us.
es mucho, ya es mucho.
It's a
lo que
lot.
estamos
It's
Eso,
just too
señora,
much. It's just
ya
too much.
ha pasado los 3 minutos.
Too much. Se pasó
Ok,
los 3 minutos.
disculpen, muchas
Sí.
gracias por todo.
I'm sorry. Thank
Que
you very
estén
much
bien.
for everything, and hope you feel you're well.
So my name is Dale. I'm going to make my statement short and to the point. I'm an office assistant with the Department of Social Services. We're currently hemorrhaging both office assistants and eligibility workers. Oftentimes, when an employee gets hired, they quickly realize that the stresses of the job is not worth the pay, and they quit and take thousands of dollars of on-the-job training with them. I actually assist in training these people, and I see the actual turnover. This has a direct impact on the services that we offer our clients. Oftentimes, our clients come in to see us for a replacement EBT card because their benefits were stolen, and they end up waiting for hours to get that replacement card. And it's not even guaranteed that they're going to get that replacement EBT card on that day, simply because of the massive volume of cards that we have still waiting to be printed. Oftentimes, a client comes in to talk to a worker, eligibility worker, about their case. And what should be less than an hour's wait ends up being an all-day event. And this is because you guys have not invested in your workforce. Worker retention is a real issue, and we need to do better at retaining our skilled workforce. Thank you.
We've passed our limit, but I'll accept 3 more speakers if we can. Buenos días.
Buenos días.
Good morning.
Mi nombre es Silvia.
My name is Sylvia.
Yo le agradezco a Dios que ustedes
I'm
me van a
grateful
escuchar.
that you're going to listen to me.
Yo soy una persona con
I'm a
cáncer.
person that has cancer.
Yo no me fui al disability
I didn't go to disability
porque amo a mis dos
because
pacientes.
I love my two
Es mamá
clients, my
y
two
hijo.
patients, my mom and my son.
Pero yo necesito
But
una
I need
aseguranza médica
a health insurance
para seguir trabajando,
to keep
para seguir
going, to
aportando
keep
para
working,
este país,
to keep providing for this country too.
para el gobierno, no sé para quién, yo de
For the
políticas no sé.
government, I don't know anything
Yo gano
about
mucho,
politics.
$1,200 al mes y me quitaron mi aseguranza médica.
I make only $1,200 a month, and my insurance was taken away, health
Cada-
insurance.
Cada 3 meses tengo que ir por
Every
medicamento
3
a
months,
México.
I have to go to Mexico to get my medication.
¿De dónde voy a sacar yo
Because
para comprar
where am I going to
medicamentos?
find the money to buy my medication here?
Yo le pido a Dios que
I
toque
ask
el
God
corazón de ustedes
for Him to touch your heart.
por los que tenemos cáncer y
For those
seguimos
that have
trabajando,
cancer and they
otras
still work,
enfermedades.
and also
queremos
other
seguir
illnesses,
aportando para
because
este
we
país.
want to provide, we want to work for this country.
Para mí sería más fácil
For
irme a
my-
una cama y decir,
It would be for me
"Tengo cáncer, no
easier
puedo
to
trabajar,
say I have
manténganme",
cancer,
pero no.
support me, I can't work.
Me gusta mi trabajo.
I love my job.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Buenos días.
Good morning.
Soy Mariana Ramírez.
My name is Mariana Ramirez.
Pues yo voy a decir que estoy
I'm
muy
going to say that I'm very
agradecida
grateful
por este programa
for this program
que nos ayuda a salir adelante,
that helps us to move forward
poder ayudar a las demás
to be able to
personas.
help other people.
Espero que me ayuden
I hope
algún
you
día a
help
mí
us.
también.
Hope these people would help me one day too,
Pero sí necesitamos
but
un
we do
apoyo
need
más
some support from you.
Económicamente,
Financially,
en el saldo,
we need a
en el salario,
better salary, better wage,
en la aseguranza
and also health insurance
para todos.
for everybody.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very
Es
much.
todo.
That's all.
We've passed the 15 minutes. This will be our last speaker. Ya hemos pasado los 15 minutos y esta es la última persona.
Hi, my name is Gloria Bernabe. I live in Sol Quintero District. I'm a family provider who provides services for my brother Fermin. He's a high risk. He puts himself in dangerous, and I had to take care of him. I'm the only sibling he has, and this job was not a choice for me. I had to do it. And it upsets me to hear that you guys are only willing to give us an additional $1 raise for ISHH workers. At this risk of losing Kaiser Healthcare, what are you telling us as workers to keep us private wage in order for us to qualify for governor assistance, Medicare or Cover California? You want to keep us and our future workers for having low wages and good benefits. I want you to do what's right. I want you to take care of providers like me who save the country, invest in Fresno, and invest in long-term care workers. Thank you.
Thank you, Gloria. With that,
Chairman Quintero, respectfully, sir, I have a couple of SEIU.
sir, respectfully, I stated the time limit at the start of the hearing, and we've gone past that already.
I
Is it
respect
the
that,
wish
sir.
of the board to listen to more comments or close it?
These employees took time off from work, sir, that's all.
Mr. Talford, I'm addressing the board. Thank you.
Understood.
You gave 3 extra, didn't you?
I gave 3 extra.
But you know, Mr. Chairman and Riley, I'd like to just say something completely unrelated, and I understand about that, but we have, you know, a rules that we follow every week, and the chairman's trying to.
Do we need to limit our votes for you?
Well, here's what I was going to say, and maybe this will help 2 weeks from now or whenever. I actually enjoyed hearing some new faces today. We saw some new folks today. That guy Dale and 2 ladies spoke, and I actually liked hearing from different people. Now, we also had some of the people that we hear from every single time. And when they come up and we've already know their whole thing and they take 3 minutes away, if 3 people do that, that's 9 minutes off the table from voices that we hear every week. I did like today hearing from some fresh voices. That's just my opinion.
So ultimately, with the rules that are put in place, it's so that members of the public, more members of the public, have an opportunity to speak on multiple different issues. And so, as chairman, I defer and support to whatever you want to do in regards to this matter. So that's what I wanted to say.
Supervisor Mendez?
If you want 2 people, it's up to you.
Okay.
If you want 2 people
Okay, 2 more.
that speak to Riley's topic.
Yes, that's
Thank
me.
you. Appreciate it.
Right.
Good morning, Board. Good morning, Mr. CAO. My name's Elizabeth Stone. I'm a Utilization Review Specialist with Fresno County. And for 11 of my 13 years with Fresno County, I have gratefully served the population, the most needy population within Fresno County. And I really want to express that gratitude, how happy I am to have been here. I'm delivering my public comment today to ask this board to support our fight for a fair union contract. So I wanted to share a brief story about just one of my hundreds, possibly thousands of clients over the years. Over the years, we've worked in individual offices, and a lot of our training as therapists was around providing a safe space. Don't know if you've ever had therapy, but a safe space is a large part of what we do to provide for in our case, the most needy of Fresno County residents. So this young lady came to me. I was seeing her at a middle school when I first started. And she brought this little purple unicorn, purple, how appropriate is that, named Sparkles. She brought this little toy to my office because she didn't feel it was safe at her house. So a large part of her treatment, both at the middle school level where I started with her and later at the high school level where she transferred to that school, she would come into my office and she would look. It had a spot, like right at the end of that table. That's where she placed it. And that's what helped her to feel safe, to let go, to be who she was and get the help that she needed. One time it was moved over to that corner, for example. And she's like, what happened? I said, well, why don't you walk it back? So she knew next time it would be in the same spot. She was in a safe space with me as her clinician. So at this point, things have changed, and we're not able to provide the level of care like we did my first 11 years with the county in the Department of Behavioral Health. We currently have a 194% turnover rate. For every one person that's coming in the door, 2 are leaving because of a variety of different circumstances. Please do not leave our children and families behind. They need us. They depend on us. Heck, they really require us to be able to move up and to be able to improve their lives. I'm asking this board to collaborate and partner with SEIU so that we can continue to provide the kind of services that we have so enjoyed providing over the past several years. So I want to thank you for your time and thank you for the extension.
Okay, you're
Appreciate
welcome.
it.
Sir, you'll be the last speaker, and
I'm
Mr.
gonna
Talford,
be
thank you
short.
for your cooperation.
I'm going to be short. Thank you, everybody, for coming here. I'm not good at public speaking. You know, I do have this little cheat chart here, which I'm going to stick to. I don't want to, but again, my name is Dikran Utuchan. Right now, I'm working for the Fresno County Department of Probation. I am a dietary aide. I work at the Juvenile Justice Campus, which is off of 99 Freeway. I started working for the county 20 years ago, but I only worked 7 years. Does it add up? No. Why? Back then when I started in 1998, you know, I was treated really well. So being an old person and life happens, so I came back. You know, I came back. Kind of like going back to a restaurant where they serve good food. But I did find some surprises, you know, and so I'm just going to read off what I have right here. I might repeat some of the things. So I am here with one of the representatives of the union, the SEI 521. I'm here to ask this board to collaborate with our union for a stronger contract. I'm not here to beg, okay? I'm not here to beg, you know. I'm lucky that our house is paid, okay? I make $15, $60 an hour. In 4 years, I'll make $20. So I'm just gonna leave it at that, okay? So like I said, I work in the juvenile justice campus, which I really enjoy. It's really a great job. There's no stress whatsoever, okay? So, and then I said, no matter what the youth has done, or the youth, like Joe Pesci said in the movie, you know, they need to eat. So they need to eat. You know, I don't care what they did, where they went, you know, that's our job. So my department meets basic human needs and provide minors nutritious foods. We make sure children, which, you know, they're under the age of 18, can eat in a clean environment. I feel good about my job supporting our youth, and I would love to stay with the county for longer if benefits and wages were improved. My team, it's just 7 of us, that's all. My team and I play a very important role in our youth justice system, and me and my coworkers deserve a stronger union contract with protections, decent benefits, and livable wages. This is how we can retain, talk about retention. I came from the call center, medical food stamp, thank God. Sorry, call center people, social workers, I commend you because I couldn't handle it, to be honest. So this is how we can retain and provide better services for all of those who depend on us in the county. I'm asking this board to collaborate and partner with my union so we can ensure Fresno County is the best place to live, work, and raise our families. Thank you.
That ends the 15 minutes of healthcare presentation. Thank you, Mr. Talford, for your cooperation. Is there any other presentations other than healthcare?
Just like you asked for votes, I am requesting to talk.
On another subject?
It's not the same thing. It's every.
Well, that's what I'm explaining.
Yeah.
So that ends the public comment on healthcare. Now we'll move on to any other subject regarding public presentation.
Okay. Okay. My name is Olga Valle, and you know that. So, the most important thing I'm here to tell you is that I'm here to remind you that we need the translation in Spanish, and I just want to keep you focused on that. And the other thing is that when we have on negotiations, your actions be really disappointing. You are trying to oppress us even more.
You're getting off the subject, Ms. Valle.
Yes, taking
I'm
us
sorry.
back.
You're getting off the
And
subject.
they
You talked
presented
about
Medi-Cal
translation in Spanish and
requirements,
you
sir.
changed the subject.
Yes, well,
I'm
they
sorry.
presented Medi-Cal requirements. That means you
You've
want
been
to
up here
keep
quite
us
often
lower
in other
than
meetings.
what we have.
We
and
got
this
your
is-
message
you
regarding
need to
Spanish
ask
translation.
your people.
Thank you very much.
And we know that you're directing
Take a 5-minute
them.
recess.
So, how many people need Spanish translation? Levántense si necesitan traducción en español.
S1, S7, the BOS is pointing to 5-minute recess.
Oh, man. 5-minute recess.
Siento, compañeros, pero
Se pueden sentar, por favor.
dice que 5 minutos se van a ir. Ellos se van a ir por 5 minutos.
So we have to, I gotta repeat myself.
How many are left?
That
We need
is-
to do that.
Those are the ones you gotta change.
So, 7 after.
We're good. S1, S7, be advised, SAU reported the BOS meeting. But they made their change question, not related to.
A different subject. I know you want to shut me down. I know you want to shut me down.
Just for your information, I don't plan to take it to some secret, but they're coming back. I'm not touching it.
We're still hanging around.
Yeah, no, we're almost go.
Okay, I'd like to call the meeting back to order. Public presentations.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Misty Dennis. I am a job specialist at Fresno County at the Department of Social Services. I've been with the county for about 9 years now. Love my job. I just want to throw out and say that I also have grown up here in Fresno County. I'm the 3rd generation Fresno County resident, raising the 4th generation, and hopefully soon in the next year, a 5th generation as well. Needless to say, we love Fresno County. We stand behind everything you do. Thank you, gentlemen. You guys have very difficult jobs. I just want to speak really quick just about what my job function is at the county and how the decisions that you guys make really impact not just my life, my family's life, but the community that we serve. As a job specialist, I have the privilege to work with some of the most vulnerable in our community, those that are coming in on cash aid, CalWorks, that are at poverty level. I work with Welfare to Work, so my job function is to help them go from being poor, on poverty in the system to self-sufficiency, meaning that they get a job, they're able to get out there, and they're to transition off of cash aid and off of CalWorks totally. I just wanted to show a few highlights of my position. I've been able to help guide and encourage several of our clients to return back to school to complete their high school diplomas, to go on to find vocational training, find full-time employment as jobs, truck drivers, CNAs, LVNs, customer service reps at the IRS, in the constructions field as well. All of these clients were able to transition off of cash aid and become self-sufficient. Every day I'm honored to work with some of the most vulnerable in our communities, families like ours, right, that accept that they've hit hard times in life and they've had to come to us as the department to say, I need help because I just can't do this without the assistance right now. And so every day we're able to help them use the resources the county has to move towards self-sufficiency. However, due to a lot of the issues that we have at the county, as some of my coworkers have talked about, it is becoming very difficult to provide the exceptional customer service that our community deserves. As a county workforce, we're at a very critical crossroads. You guys know that. We're looking at important decisions that are made by your gentlemen here that affect everyone's life. So thank you for what you do. We have a lot of families that are experiencing poverty in our community, and the job function that we do is very essential. I say this because every day I see those cares that our community needs. I see it on the front line, but it's becoming harder and harder to meet the increasing demands, because there is struggle in our workforce and in the ability to retain workers. We're losing workers left and right. My department alone, we have a 90% turnover rate over the last 4 years, and that affects the services that we provide. It affects us with high caseloads. We went from a year and a half ago to now we're doing double the work that we were doing. That's fine. We love it, but it's very difficult when every day you're dealing with people who don't have money to pay for their bills. You're dealing with people who tell you, I don't have money for diapers. I don't have money for this. I'm homeless. I just had my dad just got shot. My brother just got shot. These kind of things on a daily basis. It makes it difficult when you're expected to see 7, 8 clients a day. I just challenge you guys. Oh, and I want to say I love my job. I love what I do. I stand by it. Like I said, I've been here my whole life. I don't want to go anywhere else. But I know that a lot of my county colleagues feel the same way about all these struggles that we're facing. The truth is we're letting those that depend on us, we're letting them down if we don't give them our support. So I just challenge you as our elected leaders to no longer accept the status quo here at the county being the county with the highest, oh wow, that went fast, highest concentration of poverty in the state. It just begins by prioritizing our challenges. Thank you, gentlemen.
Hi, good morning. My name is Ella Williams. I'm Eligibility Worker 3 with the County of Fresno. I have been employed by the County of Fresno for 21 years. I serve right now, my job duties as an eligibility worker. I process the CalFresh and Medi-Cal applications for our clients. Right now, due to the fact that we are understaffed, our clients, the community we serve, are waiting 30 to 45 days to get their food benefits and their Medi-Cal benefits. This is unacceptable. I do ask that you support us in livable wages so that we can serve our community the way they deserve to be served. They should not have to wait 30 to 45 days for health benefits or CalFresh benefits. We are severely understaffed because our turnover rate is atrocious. I take this home. I take my job home every day, the weekends. I am upset because there's not enough hours in the day to get the work done. So I know that I have clients that are waiting to receive food benefits, but I don't have the time to get that in the 8-hour day that we have because we're short-staffed. Right now, the county is back on applications, okay? It's taking 30 to 45 days for people just to get the first interview. Not only are the scammings coming up and we have the lobby full from on the first of the month. We do need you to support us in our struggle for our budget. Again, 21 years, eligibility worker. I do not plan on going anywhere anytime soon. But I do hope that you support us in our contract negotiations. And I thank you, and I appreciate your time.
Good morning. My name is Mary Helen Lopez, and thank you, Board of Supervisors, for being here. And I know you have a tough job. I know you have a really tough job. I just want to let you know a little bit about me. I have a grandfather that served in the Army. He also is in the archives of the LAPD because he was LAPD. I have uncles that were in the Navy, Air Force, U.S. Army, and the Marines. I also have one in the Coast Guard. With them, they also served in the service, and they came home and they became police officers, lawyers, and judges. Also, my father served in the service, a Marine, and he also came home and became a police officer. So I am a generation of police officers and understand that it is obligated for me to come here and point the finger at you. And a mistake is not made until you don't want to correct it. So you've made mistakes, correct it. Thank you very much for your time.
Hello there. Thank you for your time, Board. Mr. Sederberg, Mr. Nealon. My name is Dion Bourdet. I am currently running for Board of Supervisor, District 2. I'm here to both show support for the Fresno County unions that were here speaking today. I'm a proud member of Union 521 and support them in their endeavors. I'm also here to talk about accountability and several of the issues that I see occurring within Fresno County based on the time that I've been employed and attempting to get employed within Fresno County. I have taken over 100 different tests over 9 years. I've interviewed over 300 different times, normally scoring at the very top of the categories that are scored. But yet I've only been employed on 3 different occasions with the County of Fresno and let go of for procedural reasons in such a case that was made in the determination to no longer hear public comments today. I think the issues that start or that are occurring in Fresno County start with accountability. The accountability of following our personnel rules. I recently went and just a few months ago turned in a 26-page document with over 75 pages of evidence to the Civil Service Commission regarding the different issues, which were completely blown off. I then provided more issues that I found within Fresno County, and those again were blown off. It then came to my attention that the Civil Service Commission is made up of members whose term limit has expired. And when I brought this to their attention, it was stated that based on Government Code 2.60.010, that they do not need to have a different person take over that position, but because they didn't have another person assigned and qualified for that position, that they were allowed to retain their seat after their term limits have exhausted. I ask, has the commission, or I should say the board, looked into actually finding a replacement for the Civil Service Commission members or any of the other members? I can tell you last August, I actually applied for the Child Oversight, the Foster Care Committee, FCSOC. I still have not received a response for that, and I know for a fact that that committee doesn't have enough members. Perhaps the real issues of what is occurring within Fresno County start in the foundation, which is holding our elected officials and our staff accountable for their actions. I ask that the Board of Supervisors look into the blatant disregard for personnel rules, Section 4, as well as several other sections. If you're interested, I'm more than happy to provide my report and the information that shows, without a doubt, that these are occurring to the board. Again, my name is Dion Bourdet, and I'm here to represent not just District 2, but Fresno County. Thank you for your time.
Okay. Is there any other members of the public wishing to make presentation? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on now to closed session. And County Council, Mr. Cedarborg, will we have anything to report out, or can we adjourn following closed session?
Mr. Chairman, following any public comment on closed session, we do not have any thing we expect an announcement out of closed session, so the board, if it chooses, could adjourn following closed session.
I'll entertain a motion in a second to adjourn following closed session.
Mr. Chairman, motion's made. I would just also like to thank you for sponsoring our adjourn in memory today of a fellow Kermanite and a doctor to many, Dr. Fred Valles and his wife Selena, who was killed this past Friday, and the services will be this Friday. Again, I want to thank you for sponsoring that with me as we adjourn today.
And one other thing too, so my appointment to the Civil Service Commission is Jordan Houston, and his appointment is not expired. I had staff look at that real quick, and they just sent me a message, so I just wanted to make that clear for the record.
With that, I will entertain a motion and a second to adjourn following closed session. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.